do this filler project. In between, I got this older Kona bike here, mountain bike, that I basically got for free. It came in the storage space of one of the motorhomes that I bought. I kind of did some research on this thing. It's actually a decent bike. It's older, but it does have some upgraded components on it. It's a dual suspension bike. It's very light. For the amount of money that I paid for the parts, I don't think I'd be able to replace this anything close to this performance level. I mean, all the parts cost me 160 bucks Canadian, which is like 10 bucks US, right? So it's a Kona King Kikapu. Dual suspension. It's got the front bumper shocks on it. These are Flight 100 Z3 model. These air seals are shot. So the way I guess this shock works, keep in mind I don't have much experience with bikes. This is just, you know, fix anything kind of a deal, so I'm gonna do it. There's fluid inside here and air. I guess it's an open, some sort of an open baffle in there, so the fluid and air is kind of mixed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna rip apart these stanchions, I guess. We got the seal kit for it. We got fresh fluid for it. So we'll rebuild these front shocks. These disc brakes were leaking. I mean, this bike, I don't think this bike has been used for a long time. It just kind of sat there. Since it's that old, it's about late 90s, early 2000s. There's nothing. The guy told me I could probably get O-rings for this just at a hardware store and try and rebuild this. You know, for what it costs, you know, about 40 bucks for a cantilever brake or a V-brake, and I already have the stems on here, so I'm just gonna get rid of this disc. I'll keep these components and I'll try and rebuild them some other time. I can always put this back. This is a hydraulic brake system, so it's superior to what I'm gonna put on here, but the rear already has a V-brake, so whatever, I'm not that too worried about it. I'm not that professional. So we'll get rid of this, put the V-brake on. This Shimano grip shift is broken off. The whole kit, left and right, cost me about 40 bucks. So we're just gonna replace these grip shifts. Also got a new chain for it since this one is all rusted away. But overall, the bike's got nice rubber on it. It would be a good bomb around bike. So this is all the components. Like I said, about 160 bucks Canadian. Oil, need a new grips, so these will be cut down because I'm using the grip shift system. New chain, seals, air seals. This Z3 is a 30mm shock. Cantilever brake or V-brakes. Super cheap. I got it at a local bike shop here, Mud, Sweat and Gears. These guys are great over there. I got both grip shifts. Came with a package, so I think I'm just gonna replace both of them. And yeah, we'll get on this. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. Just gonna learn as I go. There's these retaining nuts here. I'd imagine the shock will come apart when I pull these out. There's gonna be oil in there that will need to get caught. So once we pull these off, we'll flip her back around and drain that oil. One thing to mention, should be self-explanatory, but drain the air first if you're doing this. Pop these out. That off, we'll have to clean these stanchions, and it looks like to get rid of to remove these completely, the pistons, we'll have to remove these snap rings and then and this whole assembly should just pop out. Snap rings are out. And there we go. I'll just clean this, put this back together. And then the only seal kit I bought was the one that was actually leaking, which was the air seals on the very top on the other side. So hopefully these will still seal the oil. We'll just have to wait and see. But really nothing to this. So really I didn't need to take any of this apart. But since I have it apart, there is that seal on the bottom here. So I would just test that for any scoring. And then also inside the tube, you put your finger in there. Just make sure there's no scoring. If you get scoring, that's an issue. Might have to buff that out a little bit and replace the seal. It's a very simple design. There's nothing really to this. So we'll just basically reassemble this back together, and we'll focus on the air seals on top of this here instead. So these are supposed to be pried out with a screwdriver. I gotta be careful not to damage the inside of that to score it up. But we'll give this a try here. So these for sure are the original seals. They're very brittle and dry. This is just a dust seal. So you're supposed to work around on the inside with a screwdriver until you pop it out. Just show you guys here. So you just kind of put your screwdriver in there and you just kind of work it until you get it out. You can see it's already coming out. The gap is getting a little bit bigger here. So we'll get that sucker out, and then that bottom one, hopefully that comes out without any issue. Looks like there is a retaining ring here that will have a retaining spring and washer, so we'll have to pry that out, and that bottom one I guess should come out fairly easy. Those top ones were kind of a bitch. I literally spilled my beer when that thing came flying out. Yeah, so just be careful because it'll come flying out when you're prying on it with a screwdriver. I got the retaining rings out, or washers and springs out. It's quite a bit of dirt in here, so we'll have to wash this down with brake cleaner. I usually like to keep stuff in sets just in case. That's the old seals. They came out no problem after that little spring was removed. So now we'll just wash this down, polish her up inside, and reassemble. Pick and span. The tubes are in really good shape inside, so that's a good sign. Obviously this wasn't abused, it was just neglected, and the maintenance was neglected. So I washed both sides with brake cleaner. We'll wash all the other parts with brake cleaner, all these little stems and stuff, and then we'll spray a little bit of WD-40 on the O-rings and all the components when we go to assemble this stuff, just to make sure that they seat nicely and they go in easily. You need a tool to assemble, to press these in. You don't need anything special. Just make sure you're nicely lined up, nice and straight. Then put on your the washer that came with it, the retaining washer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a socket that's just a tad smaller than, than the inside diameter of this. And I'm going to gently tap it in with a hammer. Okay, new bottom seals are in. It's pretty easy. Just work your way around as you're tapping them in with the hammer. All assembled. Got some WD-40 in there. We'll blow that out with air right away. And then when we go to assemble this onto the stanchion, we'll have to make sure that the stanchion is completely wipe down and clean first, and then we'll spray it down with WD, and then we'll put on this the whole assembly. All right, so all of this has been sprayed down with brake cleaner now too. I'm just gonna blow it off with some air inside the tubes, and then again I'll lubricate it a little bit with WD so everything goes together easily, and then we'll assemble this sucker together. Don't over tighten this, it's all aluminum, so just hand tight and a little bit extra. Since I'm not using this disc brake anymore, we'll take this off and just put it in storage in case I ever feel like rebuilding this. Looks like it's just a bunch of Torx screws on here, and we'll just pull the disc off so it doesn't roll. So these stanchion tubes are supposed to be compressed all the way down, which they are, and then we'll fill it through here until it's 4 centimeters from here to the top of the oil. Okay, we got the oil in there, measured up. Can't really see it, there we go. Now we'll put these caps back on. And by the way, the oil I used was a 10 weight. Apparently I was supposed to use 7.5 weight, but he said because I'm not replacing any of the seals inside the pistons, the heavier weight might actually be beneficial. And then we'll pump both those suckers up to 36 psi, which is 2.5 bar. That's what the manual says. Okay. That's all she took. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's so nice. On to the next part. Just need some Allen keys to remove that front grip. We'll need an Allen key as well. And then to remove the grip shift, we'll need an Allen key. It's pretty straightforward, I'd imagine. So these will just go on like this. We'll put some lube on these. Okay. This has to be a preload spring there. Pretty straightforward. The bolts for the V-brakes are too long, so we'll have to grind them off. The only thing to think about here is there's a little hole right there for the spring to sit in, so you can get your rebound. And this is your spring there. So this spring has to sit in the hole, otherwise you will not get your rebound. And now we'll have to cut this to length. You guys will need a steel wire cutter. Otherwise, it just makes a mess if you try to cut it with anything else. So I would highly recommend getting one of these. It's like 10 bucks at Home Depot. Zip tie it over here. Here. These brakes, when you adjust them, make sure you have pressure on them. This one is a little bit off. This one is much better. I'll have to adjust it yet. But yeah, adjust the pads so they have nice contact. And then there's little screws on the bottom here to adjust the spring tension, so you can make sure that both sides release back fully and don't rub on the wheel. Okay, got the new grip shift on. So now we'll run this new conduit here. All right, so we got that sucker on. I ran new conduits just because there was rust on the old ones. So now we'll have to do some adjusting. There's the line, I still gotta cut it to length. Once I adjust this, and then the last part of this is the chain. It's all rusted, I got a new one, so yeah. And then you have to remove this chain retention thing or guide. And both of these sprockets have to come off. Careful so you don't lose any of the washers that are on here. Now is the perfect time to throw these in the parts washer, wash them up. And then on the front, there's a little Phillips screw right there, it looks like. So we'll pop this off and the chain should come right off. We'll put the new one on, we'll wash everything up and she should be done. So I ran out of brake cleaner, but engine degreaser and a brush. And then of course we'll have to lube all this up afterwards. Work it through the gears. Lube up the chain after the chain is on. Okay, everything is super clean and lubed back up. And now we'll reassemble this, put the chain back on. Actually, when I had to remove the chain, I split this rear suspension link apart and just took the chain out this way. I'm not sure if this is the correct way, but I didn't see any other way of taking this out. So if you guys know that I did this wrong, add a comment. So my new chain was longer, so I laid them both out on the table. And we'll take out this link here, and then it's got this quick link connector that came with the chain. So I ground the top of the link off where it's swaged, and then knocked it out with a punch to shorten that chain. And then afterwards, this quick link connector just slides on, and then you have to kind of twist the chain to get the other side to jump. There she is, all finished. Nice bike, very light.